Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. My name is Michael Bredthauer, and don't touch that mouse. You are in the right place. I know it. You're used to seeing Jason Lucchese or Jason Palliser's happy shining faces up here giving the intro, but today it's me, and there's a good reason for that. Today we're going to be covering something very near and dear to my heart, and that's overcoming seller objections, or seller objections for dummies, as I like to call it, simply because it was something I struggled with so much. And comment below right now if you've struggled with overcoming objections, negotiating, if this has been a fear or something that's caused apprehension in your life, maybe held you back from moving forward in your business. Comment below and let me know, because this was something that I'm raising my hand right now, that I struggled with big time. And I could give you some horror stories from conversations that I've had, or times when I didn't even have conversations with folks because I was so afraid of what the person might say, the rejection, or just not having the answers. I used to look around, and again, comment below and tell me a little bit about how this negotiations and whatnot has affected you in your business. Some people are great at it. I used to look around and see people and I'd be like, man, are some people just born with this natural ability to sell, with this natural ability to instantly connect with somebody and always seem to have the right answer, or at least know what to say? And it wasn't until, I dove in, basically, finally stopped holding myself back, and I was like, I'm just gonna start talking to folks. And I started reading books and watching videos, and I did a lot of role play with folks. I recorded myself. I did a lot of exercises to really help me understand what makes somebody be able to have a good conversation. And it dawned on me, light bulb all of a sudden dawned. I was like, this is a skill you learn. This eventually, all of a sudden I was talking to folks. It seemed to flow out pretty natural. And it just dawned on me, like, this is a skill that you learn, just like everything else. And that's good news for those of you who are on this channel, who commented below and raised your hand. We're like, oh man, yeah, this is something I struggle with, something I feel like, some people are just good at and I'm not good at. And, it's just going to be one of those things. Not true. Do not worry. This is going to be a great episode for you and those of you that are really good at negotiations, but maybe just looking for, what are other ways? Because the one thing I'll tell you about negotiating and having conversations is you will never master it. This is not something you will master. You become really good at it. You become professional. You can consider yourself, man, I'm an excellent negotiator. I'm really good at this, but you will never be perfect. You will never master the skill. It'll always be something you work on, something you hone, just like anything else. So I'm really excited to get into this. And right before we do, I do have one question for you. If you do like what we've been talking about on this channel, if you've loved our episode so far, go ahead and smash that like button, click the subscribe button right after that, and then make sure you ding that little bell so you can get notified every time we drop new episodes. I've talked to a lot of folks over these past few weeks and months as we've been growing the channel, and a lot of you had some great things to say, and it really motivates us to put out more videos and give you more of what you've been looking for. If you've noticed anything about our channel, it's that we don't want to hold back. So make sure you comment below, let us know what you want to know more about, like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. So without further ado, let's get into negotiations for dummies, or overcoming seller objections. Okay, so we're going to talk about first painting the picture. I know that seems very rudimentary, but it is what it is. You need to paint the picture every single time. Imagine every single time you're about to get into a conversation with a seller, you have this paintbrush with this palette of paint, and you need to paint yourself into the picture, because guess what? You're not in the picture. You might not like to hear that or not, but you are not in their picture, okay? If you look around their house, you check out their family album, I guarantee you're not in a single photo. Go on their Facebook page, you will not appear in a single picture. You are not there. So you need to have your paintbrush. You need to paint yourself into their life. You need to keep this in mind, because you're going to have the very first objection, what I like to call the pre-objections, right off the bat. And that's, basically the pre-objection starts with whether or not you get to talk to them. So if you paint the picture with a phone call and they don't want a phone call, guess what? You didn't paint the right picture. They didn't pick up the phone. You got pre-objected before we even had a chance to talk to them. But if you paint the right picture and you're doing it right, that's why there's different types of marketing, and we go over this. If you book a call for our 2-day blueprint, we'll go over how we go over 30 different lead sources, and each one of these has a very specific approach. Like our tax delinquent, one of the ones we love, our most bread and butter lead source right now, probates, pre-foreclosures. They each have their own specific approach. So I can't paint the picture attacking a probate lead the same way I'd paint the picture going after a tax delinquent lead, or a pre-foreclosure, or a vacant house. It just simply doesn't work. So you need to paint the picture correctly, and that begins with how you approach them. And then it steps into those pre-objections. Basically, that begins with you've painted the picture the right way enough, right? You're walking down the hallway, you're painting the picture, you're walking them down with the picture enough that they answer the phone. Now, again, comment below if you've ever had this call. or raise your hand and comment below if you ever had this call, when you pick up the phone and it's that immediate, instant, just wind out of your sails, everything doom and gloom. Oh my God, this is hello, what do you want? Basically, like, the Mr. John instinctively picked up the phone, because that's what we do as investors. We pick up the phone. He instinctively picked up the phone, even though we didn't want to, and he knows it's somebody that's going to waste his time. Hello, raise your comment below if you ever had that call, and instantly, okay, I've got a pre-objection to overcome. I haven't even said anything to this person yet. Okay, so I've got a pre-objection to overcome right away. I need to paint this picture the right way, or they're not going to want to talk to me instantly. It's going to be an instant dead conversation. So you start, at least I like to start with letting them know, hey, obviously they don't want to talk on the phone because it's like, hey, you're going to take my time. You want something from me. I don't want to give it to you. I'd rather be doing something else right now. I am doing something else right now. That's usually that pre-objection where that hello comes from, because something else is going on. Hey, John, this is Mike. I know this call is reaching you out of the blue a little bit. Is now a bad time for you? Giving them a chance to say no. If you've read negotiation books and stuff like that, you've kind of heard that before. Give them a chance to say no. And maybe they'll say, yeah, it is a bad time. I had a conversation with a lady a couple days ago. She was at Disney World. And I started, hey, it's now a bad time. Yeah, I'm at Disney World, actually. Oh, okay. Well, hey, listen, I didn't mean to bother you on vacation. I certainly wouldn't want anybody bothering me on vacation. I'll just give you a call another day. Is that all right with you? Oh, yeah, that's fine. What was this about? Oh, I was just, I'm an investor here in India. I saw you might have had a rental property on whatever street it was. Didn't know if you might be interested in taking a look at a few more houses that we have coming up here. That was it. Oh, okay, yeah, give me a call tomorrow. I'll be home, which was yesterday, and I called her back and had a nice conversation with the lady. But it all started with me painting the picture like, hey, listen, I understand your time is valuable. I don't want to take any more time than it is or than I need to. You probably picked up the phone instinctively. I doubt that you wanted to answer the phone while you were at Disney World. You thought it was something important, or you wouldn't have picked it up, right? Because you're at Disney World with your family doing, whatever. I'm not in that picture. I haven't painted myself in there yet. So I very kind of took the brush and very nicely stenciled myself in the corner and was like, hey, it's not a bad time, and she's like, yeah, I wiped myself out real quick. I'll paint myself in another day, which I did yesterday. She connected me with her husband, who is actually the individual who purchases properties, gave me his email, phone number, talked with him, getting the criteria of what they want. So I've been able to, grow that by just simply paint myself in the picture a little bit slowly. But again, begins with that initial pre-objection. I always like to start it with, is now a bad time, because sometimes it is. And if, hey, I appreciate that. I'll call you another time. But it also gives them a chance to say no, lets them know, hey, I'm painting the picture. Is now a bad time? No. Okay. I'm going to keep painting then. Lets them know, hey, I understand your time is valuable. Hey, and then my next thing is, hey, listen, I don't want to waste a lot of your time right now. I'll be real quick. I was actually just reaching out about, hey, if I'm calling a seller, hey, I was reaching out about a letter I sent to you the other day about the house on such street. I was just reaching out. I want to make sure you got it. Like I said, if you're not interested, I don't want to waste your time. I'll just go ahead and cross you off the list. But my boss is really, interested in the area. He's been kind of hounding me, and we've been right now just kind of even been able to pay over what properties are worth in some cases. So if you're interested, I love a quick 10 minutes. We can be in and out of your hair, leave you the contract, whether you sell it, now or next week or next month or whatever. Okay. Just again, in and out. Okay. Other times, if it's calling a buyer, I like to, okay, yeah, I was just reaching out to you about real quick. Saw you had that, like I mentioned earlier, I saw you had that rental property on XYZ street. And, I work a lot with people that are, falling behind on taxes and probates, people that are losing their house to pre-foreclosures. We help a lot of those folks out, and we're starting a new campaign here. We're going to be coming across some new properties here. I didn't know if it was something you'd be interested in taking a look at. I didn't want to waste your time if you weren't, but if you were interested in some similar properties to this one at some, pretty good prices, I'd love to talk to you more about it. Again, I have something for you, but I understand your time is valuable. So if you don't have time to hear about it right now, that's cool. We can talk later. Same thing with the seller. Hey, listen, I sent something to you. If you're not interested in taking a look at that and it's not something you want to talk about, that's cool. I'll check out. I'll never bother you again. This is a win-win for you. You're going to get off my list and you'll never hear from me again. But you can see that I'm taking it seriously. I'm not, trying to trick you or anything. Hey, I was just reaching out to you. I was following up on the letter I sent out to you. I just want to make sure you got it. If it was something you had a chance to take a look at, if you had any questions on it, and if it was something that, you really weren't interested in, I didn't want to waste your time. My boss is really interested in the area, and he's been able to pay over for, market value for a property in a couple instances just for that reason. That's why I wanted to follow up, because if it wasn't, we've got a couple more that I need to take a look at. Again, Just, hey, I have something for you. I'm painting this picture. And this is where you're going to start getting into the during conversation objections, right? That's where a lot of the fears come from. Now that we've overcome, the whole pre-objection, we've learned how to paint the picture a little bit. We've entered into their image a little bit. Now we're in the corner of the picture. We're maybe not the family album, but we're in a corner of a picture that we painted for them. Now it's time to start figuring out what they need. And this is where things get really important. What I need you to do right now is write this down, save this, take your phone out, screen record it. I don't care what you do, but this is something really important, a key concept that you need to keep in mind, that you need to have in front of you every time you get on the phone. I promise you, this is going to change your conversations forever. Negotiating, being a real estate investor, has nothing to do with you tricking them and convincing them to accept some terms that they wouldn't normally. There's no Jedi mind tricks. There's no special lingo that when you say it to somebody, they go, oh yeah, I actually didn't want $100,000. I did want 65 minus repair cost. Yeah, of course. Why would I want you to pay for repair? Of course I'll deduct that from what I want. No, no such thing. Okay. Being a negotiator, being a good real estate investor, being somebody who can provide solutions. That's what it is. Negotiating is about you identifying what it is their challenge is and what solution they would be looking for. Now, they think their solution is $1 million, or they think their solution is, hey, I just got to pay off this tax balance, or they think their solution is whatever. Okay, there's a million different solutions, right? They think this. Now, maybe they haven't given it much thought. Again, as a negotiator, your job is to identify the solutions that are available to them, all of the solutions that are available to them, and connect with them so you can present it to them and walk them through and identify which one is going to look good for them. That is what negotiating is: identifying the problem and creating solutions and helping them to that fact. Okay, there is no trickery involved. And that's why, and like I said, I'll drop the link here. If you check out the seller wallets, or what we do at the 2-day, what we build out for our students at the 2-day blueprint, 10 different ways. Jason's talked about a whole bunch of different videos, 10 different ways of turning a no into a yes. And that's just, again, it's not 10 different lines that you say to somebody that, oh man, this is going to trick them. No, it's 10 different solutions. Hey, maybe we're partnering on this deal. Maybe we're going to seller finance this deal. Maybe it is a wholesale deal. Maybe there's maybe we can rehab this property, whatever it is. Maybe we can't even get this property in our contract, but we can JV, or we can, maybe I could just get an assignment fee out of this deal, or just a referral fee out of this deal. There's always I'm connected with all the folks. I know there is some solution for this individual that I can provide. I just need to A, paint myself into the picture so I can talk to them about it, and then B, present it to them in a way where they understand it, so C, they can make a decision based on the facts. That is being a very good negotiator right there. You didn't trick anybody. Everybody win. The seller, the person you're talking to, they got to understand every single solution that could be available to them, and then they got to understand what that solution would do for them. The you gets to help this person. That's a good feeling. Plus, if you've done it right, you get to make some money. You get to win. The seller's going to walk away with something they want, whether maybe you did partner, maybe they're staying in the house, maybe you did some sort of tax assistance loan, maybe you paid off that tax balance and worked out a lien against the property, and then just in case they couldn't keep on it, you put a purchase agreement in place. So if they couldn't make those payments for that balance you paid off, you will purchase the property. Everything's already agreed on. You've created all these, and you have identified and walked them through and created these solutions so they know, okay, this is what's going to work for me. You didn't beat me up about my problem. You just simply sat down and listened to me. Negotiation, 90% of negotiating is listening. You listen to me, and then instead of saying some voodoo trickery that a lot of people talk about, you just kind of very plainly and kind of like had a conversation, like I'm talking to you, explained what all these options are, and then you've told me, hey, listen, I know we can't help everybody. I know we can't buy every house. That's not my goal. Like in my head, my goal is to wholesale houses, but as a business professional, my goal is not to buy every house that's out there. Yeah, that might be my dream, that might be my want, but realistically, my business goal is not to buy every house. My business goal is to flip 8 or 12 deals this month. My goal, I can't buy every house we talk to, but we do try to be a solution for every individual that we speak with. So, if we can't, it looks like right now we're not able to on the price here. It looks like right now my boss is just, he's not able to come up to what you're asking for. But, again, just because you took that time out of your day to speak with me, like I alluded to my beginning part of this conversation, I understand time is valuable. I appreciate you taking time out of the day to speak with me. I really appreciate that. What I can do is I can potentially list this out to a few places I know for free. Maybe I can help you get that 100,000. And like I said, just to say thank you for talking to me and give me an opportunity. All I would ask from that is, hey, all these you can only sell the house. You can only sell one house. So all these other individuals that contact you about buying that house, if you just pass them on to me, let them know, hey, Mike might be able to help you find something. That'd be all I ask. I'm creating solutions, and I'm not really asking them for anything. Again, in the very end of things, I'm going to try and give them exactly what they want, and I'm just going to want the runoff from that from that offer. And that's going to be it. I mean, that's a basic. I mean, I know we only have 15, 20 minutes here to go over this, but that's the basic walkthrough of how a conversation and how to negotiate. Now, the only other side of this thing, and I know it's very basic. If you want to learn more, schedule a call. We'll talk a little bit more about it. But the other side of things, obviously these are the steps. These are the skill sets you need to learn to become a good negotiator and be able to have these conversations and understand that, hey, some will, some won't, who cares? But that the concept is one thing. The dynamic of it is another thing. The dynamic of you actually doing this, you actually picking up the phone and talking to somebody, then having them on the other end either screaming at you and cussing you out or asking you questions you don't know the answer to, or maybe ignoring you, and you're like, man, how do I get through this individual? The other side of learning the concept and understanding and living the dynamic is doing it. Obviously, the first thing you got to do is start dialing or start reaching out to folks, start calling folks. But the second and third and fourth other tools you should be doing is or the first one I would say is start recording yourself. I do this microphone setup, and there's a purpose, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. But start recording yourself and listen to yourself talk to folks. Talk to, do a call with you, do a role play with somebody, record that, but then also record your calls with real people. Listen to them. And, just for recording or just for educational purposes, understand here's how the conversation went. Second thing, put the right tools in place. This microphone, everything, I don't do a lot of videos from my home office, if you haven't noticed that already. This microphone is in place because I dial. And one of the things that I struggled with when it came to making calls and taking calls is I just hated that feeling of picking up the phone. For whatever reason, that gave me some anxiety. I just didn't like it. I was like, man, just picking up the phone, dialing it, man, I don't dial as many calls. I don't take as many calls because of that. So I took a look and I was like, well, I guess what I need to do is get a microphone. I need to do this without hands-free. I need to set this up in a way where I don't have to pick up a phone. So I got this microphone. I did it all through the computer. I wired it in Ethernet. So I took some time and I set the tools up. I didn't spend big budget on, fancy dialers and stuff. I did use a dialer and I was like, oh, this is great. But it wasn't like you needed a big fancy setup and tools. The whole microphone, I think it's like $65 with the stand, is I think another $25-$30. I did get something else that's not really necessary for most people, but this is because I do video and stuff. But for the most part, when I did buy it, it was just for the fact that I need to start calling folks, and I needed to remove this obstacle in my way, this desire to not want to pick up the phone. Get those obstacles out of your way. Set it up in a way where you can do calls and take calls. And then finally, role play is a huge one. I role play with as many people as I can. I let other people listen to my calls. I say, here's how it went. Here's how I thought. I'm open on me. I think I bombed that one. Tell me what you thought. I try to get feedback because I want to know what makes myself better. I constantly, watch other individuals, when they're talking. I listen. I'm like, okay, here's what they're saying. And I try to narrow it down why. But it's just really about getting out there, saying it, and seeing what happens. So when I hear somebody say something, I'll get on the phone and I'll repeat it. And I'll just kind of see what happens. How did they respond to that? And sometimes it flows along like I thought, like I had heard it from somebody else. And other times I get stopped dead in my tracks. I'll leave you with this one story and we'll wrap this episode up. When I was learning how to negotiate, Jason, he's got a good story when we were at Countrywide. And it was terrible. It was terrible, awful, just the worst. And so we're up late one night, and he's got everybody, the people that are terrible on the phone, and we're all dialing, and we've got somebody, like I've got a potential, I can't remember exactly how the deal went. I think it was just a home equity line of credit, but I've got this person on the phone. Jason takes my chair away, and I don't know if any of you've seen this movie Boiler Room, but there is a scene out of that movie where I think Ben Affleck says, if I threw a life preserver out to you, would you grab it? So Jason says, he's egging me on. He's egging me on. Do that scene. Say it, say it, say it, say it, say it. So I'm just all right, I say it. And the guy's like, well, yeah, I would. And like, I'm thinking, I can't believe the guy just said this. He just said exactly what the guy said in the movie. And I was like, well, sign this loan. I won't let you down. And it was like, okay. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I cannot believe that actually worked. But that also triggered in my mind. I was like, I just need to start saying these things that I hear people say and seeing how it pans out. Some will, some won't. Who cares? As long as you can understand that, and that your job is not to trick somebody into taking some terms they wouldn't normally accept, but to identify a solution and present it to them. Paint yourself into the picture, identify the solution, and present it to them in a way where they can understand it. Some will, someone who cares, but at least you did it correctly. That's going to wrap it up for today, folks. Again, if you liked what we talked about today, I would love it. I would love it if you would drop a comment below. Maybe you have a little story of yourself or a story of your own. I would love to read your stories about maybe a scare story from your negotiation days. If you want to book a call, make sure you click that link, and then we'll just see you guys on the next episode. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and be on the lookout for that next video. Talk to you later, folks. Bye.